guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Alex. I post houseplant related content. For today's video, I have a few plants that I want to chop and propagate just because they're either getting out of hand or not giving me new growth. First one being my philodendron SP Columbia. She's growing kind of crazy, kind of want to chop her, see if I can get her on a pole to get her to size up. My Monstera Esqueleto is giving me no new growth. The new growth actually rotted off, so we're going to chop her and propagate her. My Monstera Adansonii is doing the exact same thing. She was growing like a weed for the longest time, and that just came to an end. All of the new growth rotted. There was no reason for it. And then my manjula pothos is looking a little sad, so I want to do something with her as well. Do plan on chopping all of these and propagating them in water. I do also have a few plants that I want to put cloning paste on just to see if I can get some of those nodes to activate and give me new growth. But I think that is all of the plants that I want to do, at least off the top of my head currently, but we'll see what else I throw into the mix. But let's get started. Okay, there's a fungus gnat. First thing I kind of want to deal with is my manjula pothos. She is sitting on the shelf down here right behind me. She has not been watered in a hot second, and I'm not entirely sure. She loved that I moved her over here right by the patio door, which gets opened frequently because I have a dog, and I'm in Wisconsin, so it is cold outside currently. And so I'm not sure if it's just a combination of the two or she is just underwatered, but she's looking a little sad. Do not judge me. So this is the girl. As you can tell, very droopy, very crabby with me, very not happy to be alive. I loved this plant when I bought it. So there's two separate vines in here. I got both as rescues and loved her. I wish that she was more full at the top. I do not want to buy more plants to shove in here, so I think we're gonna chop her. Chop her, get her in water. Hopefully the wilted spinach leaves pop back. Oops. She's got some yellowing on this one here that just came up. So yeah, we're gonna chop her, put her in some water. I'm hoping to save the main two vines that are in here as well. It looks like she actually has a growth point maybe coming out right there. So that's pretty cool. Cause yeah, she is gorgeous. This vine was like practically completely reverted when I got it. And she put out that leaf most recently. And so that was cool because I did not think it was gonna pop back, which I was fine with. And then this vine was pretty, oh, these leaves are so sad. This vine was still pretty variegated when I got her. But yeah, I just wanna chop her and get her feeling a little bit better, get her a little prettier, and hopefully at some point have a more full plant up at the top here because she looks a little sad. So first things first, I'm going to get her out of this soil. This soil is so dry that it should be quite easy. Yeah, I just want this plant to be more full because the vines are super, super pretty, obviously, but it's tough when she's just not happy. Okay, so the roots look good. There's no sign of rot or anything like that. And she's got pretty good roots too. This one's in like a knot. I love when that happens. So yeah, these roots look really good. I don't know how I feel about keeping these now that I'm looking at it. I kind of just want to chop her and start over and just put her in water and see what happens. I don't know, we'll see once I get this cleaned up how I actually feel. Okay, so I think I have decided to fully just chop her up. I love the root system on this, but both of these vines are taking up a 6-inch pot, and I just don't think that that's realistic for my space right now. I have other things that I could put in her place, and so I'm just going to chop her and propagate her in water and get rid of these roots. She's got a lot of good aerial roots coming on, and so I think she'll do perfectly fine in water. We shall see. I'm starting with cleaned shears. There we go. And I'm just going to chop her up kind of into slightly long pieces, maybe. I don't know. Let's just do it. Okay, I ended up with 6 cuttings. I cut this so odd. I left the roots on this one, cut the rest of the roots off, just because there are some pretty good growth points. There's a really good one right here. I don't think that's going to focus. And then a lot of good aerial roots, but there are so many nodes popping out on these. I didn't even realize. And then this one, same thing, cut the stem, but left the actual new growth up top. And I did that on the other vine as well. I believe that was this one. Yep, this is a top cutting. And then this one's got a couple really good growth points coming in and some good aerial roots as well. And then this one, same thing. And this one has a couple really good growth points too. That node is popping off right there. I don't know if I already showed you that one, but I am going to clean up and get these in water. So I rinsed her off and got her in water. These look so sad. So I'm hoping that being a water propagation, they bounce back quickly, and all of the little growth points that are on here also bounce back and start putting out new little leaves and stuff, so I can have a more full manjula pothos. And I figured while we are here cutting things up, I know I talked about in my houseplant tour that I wanted to chop my reverting variegated tetrasperma. She has a whole lot of growth points on her that look like they're ready to pop, essentially. And so I want to chop her to see if I can get her to, there's one snap, and I didn't get it. I want to see if I can get her to stop reverting, because the top leaves here are pretty much all reverted besides like a tiny, tiny little bit corner. And so I want to cut her up, and it's going to break my heart if she doesn't put out more variegated leaves, but that's okay. You win some, you lose some. I got a good deal on her, and so I will probably survive. I cleaned my shears again, and where is this? Is it in the back? Yes. I don't really want to take this out of the pot. I'm torn because I'm obviously going to take a top cutting, but I don't know, because there's a really good growth point over here that I'll show you guys, but I don't know what I want to do, if I want to do more than one cut, or if I just want to do the top cut and see what happens. I don't know. Her stalk isn't very variegated, So I don't really have super high hopes for this, but do at the same time because I want her to be variegated. I need to stop swinging these around. Okay, let's make the first cut. She's got a node right in here, and so there's a aerial root trying to push out right here, so I might cut, I don't know what to do. I might cut this. Yeah. Yep, we're gonna do it. Oh, that was painful. As you can see on this one, she's got a little bit of variegation. The one prior to that was completely green. And then she just put this one out, and there's like the tiniest little bit of variegation, and she is currently working on another leaf. So maybe I shouldn't have chopped her right now, but I want a variegated tetraspermum, and I'm not waiting for nobody. So where'd my garbage go? There we go. Okay, so I will let her callus for a little bit and then put her in water, and I am really wondering if I want to chop this as well, because there's a really good node right here that I could put cloning paste on, and this leaf is kind of variegated, this leaf is not, and so maybe it would work, but there's a really good aerial root already started back here. So this pains me, but I'm doing it. Oh no, that didn't go all the way through. Okay. Okay, yeah. See, she's got the super good node right there, and then this aerial root. And I didn't even notice, but there's also a node right there. That could pop out, so I'll put cloning paste on those, I think. Trying to decide if I want to take the leaves off and do these as wet sticks, or just put them in water. If I put them in water, I'm gonna have to chop this leaf off. I don't know. That's a problem for later me, aka like 5 minutes from now. Do I want to cut you? I don't, but I might have to. I don't know. Because I see a good node right there, not popping out as well as the other ones. Same with right here and down here, actually. And I know she's got good roots. And there's an aerial root right there too, so I could realistically make 2 more cuts. I might cry if this doesn't work. Okay. So we shall cut. I'm gonna have to take this out of the pot. We shall cut right here. It's sticky. Yeah, she's got a good aerial root, and then a node right here. I'm thinking I am going to have to, that is disgusting. I am going to have to probably do these as wet sticks, just for the simple fact that, like, how am I going to put this in water? It's chunky, and it would be difficult. I could do it, but again, a problem for later me. And then this little guy, I am going to take her out of the pot and then show you guys what I'm chopping, okay? So I just made the world's biggest mess getting this out of the pot, but that's fine. That's why we have a vacuum. So this was a cutting, it looks like, which I already knew, but I'm going to chop this off because I do not need this. And there are no like nodes or anything on here that are salvageable, since it was already a cutting. And the roots on this thing are absolutely insane, and for as small of a plant as she was, there might also be some rot. Anyways, that's not what I wanted. No, I did not just throw that directly on the floor. So I'm going to chop back these aerial roots because there is definitely some rot going on, which she was in such a big pot because the roots were so big and she's such a little girl. So I'm not surprised that she's rotting, honestly. Seems like it only goes a little bit of the way up, which is really nice, but nonetheless, not thrilled. Okay, so this one has a good node right there. And then obviously these aerial roots that I can cut back and hopefully will continue to grow. And then I did cut pretty much right next to a node right there as well. So I'm going to make the chop on these roots, and we are going to put her in water. Maybe, don't know. Okay. I don't know where to chop these, so I'm just going to cut because they don't need to be that long if she's going back in water. But I also don't want to completely take them away, you know, so I don't know, I think that should be fine for now. I do need to rinse these guys though, rinse all of them probably, and clean up the absolute disaster of dirt that I just spilled everywhere trying to get her out of the pot. So I'll be back. I got as much of the dirt off as possible and did find that the rot was higher up than expected. Woo! Anyways, I'm going to try to figure out how I want to put these in water because I don't really have a vessel that is going to hold all of them and that is shallow enough for like cuttings like these where the roots really aren't developed yet. I have all of my propagation vessels right here, so I'm going to see what we can do. Obviously I know this one could probably go in here. Yeah, and she could just kind of sit, chillax like that. I wonder if I could get, because I don't want to rot the stem, so it's tough. So like this one, I don't love using colored glass for some reason. I don't know, personal preference. I don't think it matters. It might matter. Let me know if it actually does. Something about the sunlight not being able to get through all the way. I don't know. So I do have this guy as well, and I think he would be perfect for like, I was wrong. And I know this isn't gonna fit. Okay, never mind. On further inspection, I might need to move some of my propagations up on my propagation shelf and switch those out to different vessels, and then hopefully utilize those for some of these cuttings because right now it's not looking too great for me. So give me a second, I'll be back. So I got these, and we are going to cross our fingers that I can make this work. I should be able to just like fill that up most of the way and pray that the stem doesn't rot. It shouldn't. I'm stressing myself out for no reason right now. And then this one, same thing. Maybe I can even put less in here. I don't know, we'll figure it out. And then in this one, I'm questioning whether or not I want to cut this leaf off because the aerial root is right here. And the variegation on the stem, that's what makes me mad because it's like, why are you not putting out variegated leaves? Please. Anyways, so I am going to cut this leaf off so that I'm not soaking it with that aerial root. And then we can just go like this. Perfect. Okay, I'm going to put water in all of these and put them up on my propagation shelf. So here is my Monstera esqueleto and where the new growth completely rotted off. It quite irritates me because there's 2 stalks in this pot and the new growth rotted off on both of them, and so I ended up chopping the other stalk and there is a growth point coming out as soon as I can get over there and actually show you. So there's a small growth point coming out there, but I need to chop the other stalk because it is not going to do absolutely anything else for me. So taking my clean shears and kind of just going in to see where there might be a node and where there's an aerial root, and then I will cut where I think is the best place to cut on there. I'm really hoping that this plant does something because I got a good deal on her and she's large and beautiful, and I want a big climbing esqueleto. So I'm kind of just making that cut in between the node and aerial roots and trying to get some roots in there. And I did end up getting a nice aerial root here. There are some good growth points on this as well. And yeah, so I'm pretty proud of this cut. She looks good. And here I'll show you kind of where that growth rotted off. I got some of it off, but you can see literally just the entire leaf that was going to come out completely rotted, and I could not figure out a reason for it. Don't know if it was bugs, don't know if it was just underwatering, overwatering, not entirely sure, but this is mushy and disgusting and needs to be taken care of. So I'm just taking my calloused cut and putting it into a jar of water so that she can hopefully push out some new roots. And I'm really hoping that she does and that there's a growth point on here somewhere that activates, because I would love to be able to pot this back into the big pot. Then I'm just putting her up here with my other propagations, and this makes me so sad because the nicest leaf on the whole plant was within this cut. My philodendron SP Columbia. As you can see, she's got all kinds of different things going on in here. She is just one plant with a bunch of like separate stalks coming off of her, but I am going to take her out of the pot to do this because I want to get as good of cuttings as possible. So I've got my little potting mat here, and we are just going to do one of those. Set this to the side. Okay, got her out of the pot, and I'm kind of just looking to see where I want to chop because there are so many different like crazy growths in here that don't really have a rhyme or reason to how they're growing. And I would love to put her on a pole to help her grow a little bit straighter, a little bit better, but I need to clean her up first because there's no way I'm getting this whole thing on a pole. So got my shears here that have been cleaned, and I'm kind of just wondering, because the growth is weird too, to where like the leaves are coming off odd, and it wouldn't be super easy for me to put any of this on a pole, doesn't look like. So let's see. There's a bunch of like little babies in here too that just makes it tough. But this is all quite literally one plant. Also checking to see where roots would come out, where aerial roots would come out, so that when I am chopping, when propagating it, I'm not going to be cutting something that I can't actually root. So I think I'm gonna cut this one. I'm gonna try to cut as close to the base as possible. Okay. Alright, so first cut, and see what I mean, the leaves are just growing in a super weird direction, and the new growth on this looks like it might have like burned off. I really can't tell, but to propagate this in water, I think I'm gonna have to take these two bottom leaves off. So we're just gonna pluck those off. And there is a node right here that I could activate as well. Yeah, the new growth on this looks looks like it might have done something. So, we'll set that to the side right now. Then we'll decide what I want to do later. And then I'm wondering if this guy would be a good candidate to chop. See, the new growth on this one is kind of rotted too. We'll chop her and see what we can do. So that's another thing, if the new growth is not going to actually come in, there's kind of no point to keep it on the plant. But like, see what I mean here? That's new growth and it just looks like it's not going to actually do anything. This might end up being a wet stick situation. Yeah, all of the new growth kind of looks like that. It's stressing me out a little bit. Besides this one looks good. I'm gonna chop this guy right here too. But yeah, this new growth looks janky as well. So I don't know what I'm gonna do here, because obviously I don't want to root these if they're not gonna do anything. And this one's got like little notches out of it too. That would probably, it wouldn't grow anymore. So this one looks good. Looks like that new growth should come out. Potentially. I'm gonna chop this little baby off. So essentially, I'm wondering if I'm going to end up with just like a tiny, tiny plant. Might chop. Don't know if that would root. I'm gonna chop this little tiny guy off right here too. He's got one good root, so that's nice. Can definitely propagate that one. And then this, so ideally this is what I would want to put on the pole because it's got good new growth coming out all over, but how would I put that on a pole, you know? So we're gonna take this leaf off because she's looking a little sad. I don't think there's going to be an easy way to do this. I don't really want to chop the whole plant, but it's looking like I might have to. All right, I'm gonna chop this big one off too. Ooh, and try to root her in water. It's still connected. Oh, it's because the root is like all the way in there. So I think what I'm gonna try to do is put this guy on a pole and see what happens. I want to try to break up this plug a little bit because I think I kind of want to see if there is more than one plant in here or if it is all just offshoots. Pause. For this guy, we'll set him to the side and then try to get him on a pole, because there is good potential for this to grow less weird. This leaf is obviously gonna not, could potentially turn, but I definitely chopped this up more than I was expecting to, but that's okay. I am gonna chop off this little tiny baby down here, just to clean it up a little bit. Okay, so I think this is gonna be the one that I put on the pole. The rest of them I'm gonna try to propagate in water. So we'll set that guy there for now. This guy is already doing pretty well rooting, and there is new growth coming out here, so that's lovely. But I will pop this guy in some water, I think. Might take this leaf off, might have to take this leaf off. There's a good node down here too. In total, I've got 4 that I'm gonna pop in some water, and then the one that I'm going to put on a pole and try to get her to start climbing straight up rather than out. Because I have seen these on poles, and I think if I would have gotten this plant when it was smaller and put it on a pole, it would have been a little bit easier. But being that I did not, that's kind of how I bought the plant. It has grown quite a bit since I've gotten it, but I got it as a rescue. She's had bugs, and it grew crazy. So I realistically could probably put this on a pole as well, but I want it to root a little bit more before I do so. Because it could, I mean, with the right support, I could get it to start growing up rather than all weird like, but I got 4 little cuttings that I'm gonna pop into water, and then this guy that I will try to get on a pole and get her started in her new journey. Yeah, she's got new growth coming out right here that looks really good too, so we should be able to do something with that. I'm gonna clean up my space, and then we're gonna move on to the next plant. This is my philodendron burle marx variegated. Looking at her, she's got a lot of stalks that I could cut and propagate, and I kind of want to, just to see what happens. She is ginormous and crazy. So I'm not gonna take her out of the pot. I'm just gonna kind of look in here and see what I could do, what I could cut, but I don't want to completely change the, what am I trying to say? Change the look of how like full and pretty she is. Obviously taking some out will change the look a little bit, but I don't want to like bare bones completely chop this plant. I just want to take a couple cuttings. So looking in here, there are a lot of stalks that I could cut, and most of them have new growth. So I might just kind of go in and see what we can do, because they are all just kind of wild, and there's a lot of good aerial roots already started on a lot of these, and so I think it's going to be quite easy to propagate these, and then maybe I'll plant them back in here, maybe I'll sell them, don't know, but she's crazy, and I want to chop her up a little bit. So looking in here, it looks like this stalk might be a good candidate. Did I just rip a leaf? So trying to get like as low to the base as possible with this one. And I don't know how well that's going to work, but because I think some of these aerial roots are rooted into the soil, like the one I just did, I'm pretty sure is going to be impossible to get out without cutting the root. this guy looks like she put out an all green leaf, but she's got a few growth points on her. Get these off. Okay, so down here, there's a growth point. Looks like there actually might be 2 growth points popping out. And then, let me get this crusty off, but it won't come off. And then in here, she's got a new growth point. Up here, she's got a new leaf trying to push out and a growth point activated. And take this off. And I might try to chop this right here just a little bit. Just because it's rotted at the top. So I think I got my first cutting. Already some good aerial roots down here on the bottom started. I'm hoping the one that I just had to cut will keep growing. A couple more are gonna come out here, but she is super cute. I think this was a good first cut. It looks like the new growth on all of the growth points is actually going to be variegated, so that is a good start for this guy. Finally got that guy. And yeah, this leaf is all green, it looks like, but that's okay. I'm gonna add her to my cutting little pile and then see what else we can chop. I think, okay, what leaves are connected to this guy? Might be able to, can't tell if this is all one or if I could realistically like get a couple. I think I could get a couple, but I might try to, ooh, it is connected. It actually would probably be easier if I took her out of the pot, but I don't really want to. Her soil might need to be changed. We're gonna just keep trucking and see how I feel. But like this one would be so much easier to cut if I took it out of the pot. Ooh, okay, cool. So this guy has a lot of new growth as well, and the aerial roots look really good. I could potentially chop this node off because there are some aerial roots popping out on the sides here. But I would probably have to take that leaf off, and I don't really want to do that. Let's see. How stupid would it be for me to cut that? Because this would stay with that side. I think I'll leave her alone for now, actually, and we will just propagate this whole thing. And that's one thing about this plant that I don't understand. There are so many different growth points that just activate on their own. Like there's one here, there's one here, there's another one there, there's one in there. There's so many. This looks like it's activating even though it was chopped. Yeah, and there's a very good variegation on this one too. So we'll add her to the pile. Okay, so if I chopped this, she would still be pretty full. But where would be the best point to chop her at? Okay, we got another. And looks like there is some decent growth on this one too. Yeah. This leaf came out kind of janky. She's still curled up and crispy, but that's okay. Do we think she is going to unfurl? She might look bad when she unfurls, but this leaf is dying because it was super high variegation. So we're gonna pop her off. And then it looks like I could potentially get, I could get 2 off of here, but I am not going to because this one looks questionable. This one looks really questionable, actually. That whole thing might be done for. Okay, well, we'll just pop the whole thing in water and see what we can do. But yeah, good variegation on this one too. Some good aerial roots already started. I'm hitting the jackpot with these so far. And yeah, I might repot her because her soil is looking a little icky. And I'm trying to transition everything into a soilless mix. But do I want to cut anything else? I do, but like where? Because I don't really want to take any of these main like big leaves off. Getting a lot of little crusty guys. Okay, so she is out of her pot, ridden of the soil that she was in, and looking at, I broke one of the aerial roots, so that's good. Looking at this, there are a lot of places that I could make another cut. I think I'm gonna make one more cut. And it's going to be this one here. I'm gonna try to, I'm wondering if I want to cut above this leaf or try to really get in here and just cut. Well, the thing is though, is that would have to go anyways. So, okay, this is gonna be the last one. 3 leaves, good variegation on all of them. They do look kind of crusty, a little bit of damage, but what, 6 growth points on here? Because yeah, there's one down here, 2 here, another node trying to activate there, and then like 3 right here. So pretty decent if you ask me. We'll pop her in water, see what we can get her to do as well. Get some more of these little crusties off. Yeah, I think we're gonna be done chopping. So I think we'll pot her up just like this, and then all of her new growth points that she's already got coming in will eventually hopefully all go in the same direction. But I think I did good because she's still full, she still looks cute. I want to cut this off because it's rotted, but I'm not going to. So I think we're done with this one. I think I just need to get her back into a pot and get her staked up with some support to make sure that these stay together the way that I would like them to, and get her in some new soil, and she should do good things. If I break one more root, I swear. But I think we are done with this girl for now. We ended up getting, I'm getting dirt everywhere today. It's kind of just the motive. Ended up getting 4 cuttings that I could turn into 5 technically, but I shall not for now. Just because this one, I don't really want to cut here because this one doesn't have super good roots yet, and I am going to be rooting these in water, so it would be fine. But if I decide to sell them, it would make more sense to keep it together and just make it look a little bit more full. But we ended up getting 4 beautiful cuttings from my burle Marx variegated. Good variegation on most of the leaves, and yeah, a lot of good roots already started, but we'll definitely pop off a little bit more in water. So I think we are going to move on to my Adansonii. I don't know that I want to chop her, but I do want to put cloning paste on her because, like I said in the intro, all of the new growth points, or not new growth points, but all of the new leaves that were coming out at one point rotted for absolutely no reason, no root rot, no anything. Like, light was good. So I want to put cloning paste on her nodes to get her to push out some new growth, just because I like the way that it's growing up the pole. It's a very pretty plant, but if I'm not going to have new growth, like, it's tough. It's tough. I was very disappointed when I saw all of the new growth rotting out. Quite sad of a day. So I'm gonna get everything cleaned up, get these situated, get those cleaned up. We'll probably repot this super quick just to get her back into a pot so that she's not sitting out for too long. And then we'll move on to my Adansonii. My Monstera Adansonii has been having a hard time. She is gorgeous. Love the way that she is growing up the pole. Love the way the leaves are sitting. Very full, very lush. However, all of the new growth is gone, rotted. So we are going to be putting cloning paste on her, and I am scared because I'm gonna have to take leaves off to get to the nodes. So what I'm thinking is where all of the new growth was supposed to be, I think we are going to take the leaves off, cover the nodes in cloning paste, and then see what happens. But I don't want to alter the look of this plant hardly at all. So it's going to be an issue because I also don't see any nodes as it is, and it might be hard to get the leaves off because the new growth is still soft. And so I might be at a loss with this plant, honestly. And I'm looking to see, yeah, it's kind of tough because I just don't see any nodes. Like, I look into the leaves and I see nothing. So I'm gonna start with this one and just see if I can get the leaf off of here. And I realize you can't see what I'm doing, so I apologize, but okay, found a node, and it's already kind of growing. So I don't know what the easiest way is going to be to show y'all, but I am gonna cut off the dead part, and it's not even hardened, so this might be a failed experiment, but we're gonna try because I love this plant, and you know, we can only do so much. So I have got the Southside Plants Crazy Keiki cloning paste. You tell me, don't know. I've used this on my Philodendron Brazil, my unvariegated Tetrasperma. The Tetrasperma popped off, like absolutely popped off. It took a while longer on my Brazil because my what? I'm getting too excited. My Brazil doesn't get super direct sunlight, and so that's probably part of the reason. But with this, you need literally the smallest amount possible. And then you quite literally just put it on the node growth point. And I have seen people cut or make like a little tiny slits in the nodes before. I don't think I did that on my Tetrasperma, and so I'm not going to do it on this either, because this does get pretty good sunlight. And I honestly, just for funsies, might do some of the nodes like down towards the bottom as well, where the like super old leaves have come off, just to see what happens. There's one down here that's already doing a little bit. And I'm just using a Q-tip to apply this, and it's tough for me to actually show you guys, but I'll show you a close-up when I'm all done. I saw a good one somewhere and I don't know where it was. I will have to take any crusty bits off to get to some of the nodes probably. There's another good one. Okay. I do realize that I could simply get another Adansonii, because it's not like they are super expensive and they're pretty widely available. I could go to Walmart and get one right now, but I love mine way too much. I love how I got it to grow. The leaves have sized up so much for me, and I'm not willing to give that up. I'm not willing to start over with this plant, so we're just gonna have to make do with what we have and get it to do something, because I want the plant back that I had. There should be one on. I say there should be one. I already put paste on it and then just got it all over my hands. Oh well. Okay. And now I am just wondering, because I swear the one that I saw was higher up, but I might be just losing my marbles a little bit. I don't know. Okay, so that stalk is done. This one, I don't want to take this leaf off, but I'm probably gonna have to. Oh, this one's not looking promising because I just tore the new growth. So we're gonna have to chop that back. And I am just going to take this whole thing and then hope that the node that's in the other leaf right there does something without me assisting it. And then this one, probably gonna be pretty difficult, honestly. What does that look like in there? Will this come off easier? Yes. But I barely got to the node. Okay, well, good enough. I'm just gonna put some on that guy. And I think I'm gonna chop this as well. So I did not get to do as much as I would have liked, but is that also a node? Or did I just miss part of the leaf? Might as well put some paste on it. And the thing about this stuff is it goes a long way. Like, obviously the star is absolutely tiny, but I haven't even made a dent in it yet, so. Too shaky for this. Okay. I think that'll be good for now. At least got a little bit on there. She does look a little sad, just because I chopped so much of her back, but it's okay. She's still pretty. Her leaves are still big. She does need a good water, but other than that, I think we are good with this one. I'm trying to think if there is anything else I would like to put cloning paste on. Show you my tetrasperma and all of the new growth points that it has from the cloning paste, because they took, I wish I would have documented when I put the cloning paste on, because I think it took a while, but they've all produced leaves at this point. And the leaves aren't teeny tiny either, which is really nice. So I'll grab that guy and show you, because it's going to be a little bit easier to show you rather than trying to show you where I just put all of this on, because it's like really in there. So I'll grab her and show you what I did there. So here is my tetrasperma. I only put cloning paste on a few growth points here, and I'll show you. So this guy was one of them. She has already put out one leaf, and she is currently working on another. And then I put some back here as well, because I had chopped it and gave a propagation away. And so I put cloning paste on the growth point that was closest to where I chopped, and she absolutely popped off. I did put cloning paste on this node, and it hasn't done a whole lot. Same thing with that one down there. But this one, you can see the color difference of the newest leaf, but there was also a growth point down here you can't see. There was also a growth point down here that I put cloning paste on, or no, I did not put cloning paste on. It kind of just popped out at the same time that the other ones did. So that was pretty cool, but they are doing super well. There are probably a few more places that I could put the cloning paste on, but we're gonna leave her alone. She is super cute as it is. I also love this plant. Probably my easiest going plant that I have. I don't water her super often. She could probably stand a repot right now. Just got her on a cocoa coir pole, but she never gets mad at me. She's never had bugs. She doesn't get mad when I don't water her, because it's probably been over a month since I've watered this plant, and she still looks really good. And she doesn't get a whole lot of direct sunlight. So honestly, if you're looking for a super easygoing plant, get one of these, because they grow super fast as well. And yeah, they are super cute. Can fill out a pot, fill up a pole. Yeah, I highly recommend. And they're pretty accessible as well. But she's doing good with her growth points. I'll probably leave the rest of them alone for the time being, but I do think I'll give her a repot, give her some new soil, get her watered. Maybe she'll perk up a little bit or give me some more growth, because she's already perky as it is, even though I've ignored her for a solid month. So, but yeah, she's gorgeous. If you're thinking about getting the cloning paste, do it. Got my cuttings and my propagation vessels here. We are just going to kind of see what fits and where. I'm thinking these taller ones I'm going to have to use for the burle marks, but this guy might be kind of difficult. I do need to rinse the roots too before I put water in these, but just kind of seeing right now. I'm wondering if I should take this leaf off, make it a little bit easier on myself. We're going to commit. Ugh. Okay, I think that'll be good for this guy. She looks good. And then this little tiny baby one, I could potentially, do like this kind of situation, really just shove her in there. Yeah, I think that'll be good. And then this guy, might try to put these two together actually. We'll see if we can get them in there far enough. I think that'll work perfectly, because then they kind of keep each other up. And then this guy is for sure gonna need one of these. And this leaf is kind of janky, so I'm not too worried about it resting right against the glass and like kind of pulling on it a little bit. But I think that'll be good. And then for these, we will kind of just see, but I think the other one of these I will have to use another one of the tall ones. And then I'll be able to kind of just fill the water up to maybe like right here, and still have enough room where the leaves aren't submerged in water. Don't think that is not going to fit in there. Might have to double up on these actually. So we'll put these guys together gently as possible, so I'm not snapping off any existing roots or little nodes or anything. Okay, that should work. And then this one should also be a little bit easier. There is an aerial root right here, but I'm not going to submerge that because there's two growth points right here that I don't want to be submerged at all, so we'll just do this, and enough roots will be submerged that I should be able to get some good growth without having to submerge everything. This one's being a little tricky because I need to do this just right. maybe like intertwine these a little bit, or should we just try again? Okay, if I don't mess with it, that should be good as well, and then I'll fill it up to probably like right about here and really get those roots going. There's a couple growth points that'll be submerged, but I'm not too worried about it since I do have pretty like healthy plants up top already, and there's plenty of other growth points. So I'm not gonna need this one. So here are all of my little cuttings that I took from everything but my esqueleto. My esqueleto is already up on the propagation shelf, but that is going to be it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you do enjoy my content, make sure to like and subscribe to see more from me. But I will keep you guys updated on how these propagations do, how long they take to root. I'll probably post some Instagram stories when they do start rooting a little bit, showing all the little baby roots. So if you don't follow me on Instagram, my handle is just rootedinwisco, and I've got it linked in the description as well. But thank you guys so much for watching. I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.